Hello, and welcome to Real Person Reviews. I'm Sam, and I'm a real person. And today I want to talk to you about Castlevania, Harmony of Dissonance. Yeah, good luck reading that tiny looking font. So, this is the second in the second Castlevania game for the Game Boy Advance, of the three that were released on that. Well, I thought it made sense to review this one after the first one, which was Castlevania Circle of the Moon. If you want to know more about that game, because I might be referencing some of that here, I want to check out my review of that one. I don't know why I point when I do that, it's not in a direction. Here we go. So, in Harmony of Dissonance, again, it's a Metroidvania-style game where you go around and you kill dudes with your whip, like you would, as any good Belmont would, in a Castlevania game. And you level up as you do it, kill enemies, you get money, you can buy some stuff in some shops, you get powers after beating certain bosses, and obtaining certain items, so you can get buffs and new abilities that allow you to access new parts of the castle. It's all very basic stuff. Again, it's a formula ripped pretty much right from Symphony of the Night. And this game, in many ways, I think is probably really similar to it. Like, the most similar that I've seen, anyway. And, of course, I still haven't played Symphony of the Night, so there's that. Anyways, it's a lot of just going around and killing a lot of enemies, finding cool items and relics, and getting really cool abilities and attacks and different armor and such, and you upgrade. There are save rooms as well where you can save, and that's how you heal. Although there are some healing items, but they're limited in supply, so sometimes enemies will drop them, sometimes they won't. I don't know. It's very simple. It's very fun. They give you a nice layout of your stats and everything. You can see certain items buff some stats and not others. So if you want to use magic stuff more, you can use items that do that. If you want to go more into attack or more into defense, you can do stuff like that. It's cool. And you even get some cool upgrades to your whip that can give it some elemental damage, and I think that's something that's also kind of pushed here too, is that there's a lot of elemental stuff. Certain armors will give you elemental protection, certain ends of the whip will give you elemental attacks, and you can get elemental spell books, which, the way these work is that, basically to use magic, you have sub-weapons, which use up hearts, unless you use magic with them. And if you have your a spell book turned on, then you can use you use that item, and it's used in a different way. So all the items get a special usage with certain sub weapons. Depending on which spell book you use, will have different effects. And I didn't really play around with that as much as maybe I should have, because I got a sub weapon that I liked, and then I found the spell book that I used with it. I really liked how that worked, and I pretty much used that combination throughout the entire game. Seemed to work pretty well. So, I mean, you don't have to be too worried. This game isn't super hard or anything. And this game also has a really sweet feature where there's a quick save option, because this is a handheld. I guess the designers realized that, maybe the player is going to need to save in a pinch. If they're on the go or something, and they need to stop playing. So, there's a quick save option. And, what it does is, the quick save option basically means that it saves everything that you've collected, all your experience, all the new items you've collected. It saves how much of the castle you've explored. And then once you shut it off, turn it back on, you'll have all that stuff still, that amount of castle explored, those items, the experience, all that. You'll still have it. But you'll restart in the last save room that you saved in. So, it can be exploited, I guess, for quick travel. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do that. And I don't know, so there's that, I think, which is just really nice, because then, if you die after exploring into some place for a while, you don't have to feel shitty for, okay, should I stop and like go back and try to find a save room because I might die here and I'll lose all my progress, or should I just like keep going and risk it and try to find a save room farther up? This kind of alleviates that in that you can just save, and if you die, you know, I guess you'll still have that. I guess I don't know exactly how it works if you die, because I actually, I think I only died like once or twice in this game. You know, it's not really that hard. It's super fun. It's got the music in it's pretty cool. It's very Castlevania-y, but it's also kind of more video gamey, which I liked. And the art style is pretty nice. The stuff sticks out fairly well, I think. You have a cool like little trail thing behind you when you're moving and stuff, and you can change the color of that depending on what like certain armor you're wearing or whatever, what equipment you have on. That's kind of neat. Little stuff like that, just cool. And what's really cool too is that this game is pretty big, where you think, oh, I'm almost done with this, but I almost explored, you know, this large amount of the castle. And then basically stuff happens and there's two castles. It's kind of like the inverted castle idea, sort of, I guess, from Symphony of the Night, but basically it's kind of, think of it as a light world, dark world thing. And I think this is probably a good time to bring up the bad stuff about the game, the downsides. That when I was first introduced to that castle thing, I was pretty fucking confused, because there was Castle A, Castle B, and there's, in the middle of those two sections, when you go to the map screen, there was Castle A plus B. And I don't fucking know what that means. So basically, when it starts off, too, it's like Castle A, and like, it's you only access certain parts of the castle at a time, and it seems like certain parts are only Castle A, and certain parts are only Castle B. And I think the map screen actually changes a bit, too, when you're going through it, so it can be confusing. But essentially what helps is, like, it eventually gets more centered, I guess, because you have to figure it out during, like, a plot thing, sort of, I guess. Which is stupid, but basically, just think of it as, like, light world, dark world, so that while things are kind of a little bit different by, you know, like, different enemies and different, there's different enemies and different like placements of certain rooms and such. They're slightly different, but the overall layout and the map is going to be the same between both of them. So just kind of think of it as like light world, dark world. If you've been to it in one, you should go do it in another. Sometimes things in one affected in the other, stuff like that. They'll help you out a lot. Something that I don't think they did a good job explaining or really showing until like halfway through, when I was already trying to figure it out a lot. I don't know. That was kind of annoying. Another thing that's kind of a downside is that it doesn't have different weapons, which I guess is okay. I mean, you have different sub-weapons, you can use spells with those to do different things, that's cool. You get equipment, and you even get upgrades to your whip to make it do a few different things and different amounts of damage and such, like, so, they at least gave you that, and that's like a step towards what I wanted. And it still is really fun. I was never like, oh, this whip sucks, but, you know, it's a thing. I did notice, like, the controls. Well, I do think they're really good. For the most part, I think they're really good. I think my only real complaint, I guess, to start off with, not even really a complaint, just a weird thing to get used to, is that the jumping is kind of strange, where you'll jump, and, like, if you just tap it, you'll do super short hop. It's either that, or else there's a huge jump, if you hit the button longer. And there's really only those two jumps. There's not really an in-between. So it's kind of strange to get used to that, and that you're either doing a short jump or a full jump, and you have to get used to those. But there's, like, dashing in here, so you can go around faster, and you move at a decent pace to start with anyway, which is nice. And I don't know, the shop sells some decent stuff, I guess. The only other real complaint, I guess, would also be that it's too easy. And I don't mind, because I had a blast with it, but I can definitely see where people would probably think this game is a little easy. You can unlock different modes and stuff, too, but I only really played the main game, is all I did. And, yeah, it's interesting, I guess. I'm hoping that difficulty thing isn't going to be a big problem for you. But it could be, I guess. So just know that it's not super hard or anything. Well, Harmony of Dissonance. How does it stand within these games? Well, since I haven't talked about the third game of these, I'll only compare it to Circle of the Moon right now. And in comparison, I will say that, I like that they included the money in the shop system. I like that they included at least being able to upgrade your whip, if not having new weapons in it, like, Symphony of the Night had before that. It was a lot easier. I never found myself going to... I think I was grinding once, but that was just for money to get a new item. I wasn't grinding to get levels to continue through the game, so it was nice to not have to do that. Even if I did seem a bit overpowered, it's possible I just had a good strategy. I don't know. It's possible. But also, there's a lot of items you can get to help remedy the situation, so... And, I don't know, like, overall, it blows Circle of the Moon out of the water. Like, this game was fucking awesome. And, like, I really do recommend it. It's only cost me, what, $18? Like, yeah, it's great. This is probably one of those where it's worth, like, 20 to 30 bucks, I think I would recommend even for it, because it's pretty good length of a game. I think it took me somewhere in the realm of, like, 10 hours to beat it or something. And I didn't really need to stop and do bullshit, so it wasn't like it was just, like, padded. It felt really fun, and it was cool to explore and get those new abilities and find new things and fight things. One other thing, I guess I almost forgot to mention that in the other part, but the enemy placement, I just will say quick, enemies are... They kind of reused them later as stronger versions, which is okay, but even so, there are a lot of rooms where they kind of just threw a lot of the one enemy at you, and you just had to fight a lot of that one enemy, which is okay for really big enemies that are tough to fight, but when they throw a bunch of really small enemies at you, just a lot of them in that room, they can be kind of annoying, and it feels a little lazy. But okay, we got that out of the way. So, ultimately, Harmony of Dissonance fucking kicks ass. Definitely recommend this. And, I don't know, like... Whatever you guys want to leave in the comments about this shit, go ahead. I don't even know what to ask. Have you played it, I guess? Have you? Maybe that's why you're at the review. Maybe you're just curious about it. I don't know. So let me know about that. Let me know what else you want me to review. All that kind of shit in the comments. And definitely look forward to my next review, because it's going to be on, I don't know, probably the next Castlevania game on the Game Boy Advance. Whatever it is.